Hello, everybody. In this module, we're going to talk about inventory management. All right. Now, this is something we could probably have done an entire week's worth of modules on, but we're going to cram a lot of information to this one just to get you started. And we've got more training inside of Helium 10, inside of our tool that will help you with this. But first of all, what is inventory management? Why is it important? Guys, I cannot tell you how many sellers I have seen complain or just lament and just kick themselves because of inventory management. And it goes both ways. What are the two ways that somebody could mismanage inventory? Number one, probably the most common one, is running out of inventory, going out of stock, and then you lose all of your momentum and hard work that you did to get to page one and some nice sales velocity, nice review velocity, and then it comes to a screeching halt because you run out of inventory because you miscalculated and you didn't order in time. But on the flip side, another thing that comes up sometimes is ordering too much inventory, and then you're stuck with it. And guess what happens if your inventory is sitting in Amazon 2, 3, 4 months? You're getting a lot of storage charges from Amazon. And what could also happen is, depending on what kind of inventory restrictions Amazon has, you could actually be restricted from sending more of your other products because your inventory allocation that Amazon has for you is all filled up with this one product that just doesn't seem to be moving. Now, a common question I get, and Kevin has talked about it, in other modules, is, well, how much do I order for the first time? And that's the thing. For the very first order, you're a little bit in the dark. You don't have your own sales history. Sure, you can look at what the top sellers are doing, but how do you know that you're going to be selling at that level? You really don't, right? But after you do start selling, you absolutely have the way to have at least a good idea of how you need to order. All right. So I'm going to show you how Helium 10 can help you with that, because most of you guys who are Freedom Ticket members, you are also Helium 10 members. And regardless of the paid plan level you have, whether it's Platinum, Diamond, or Elite, you all have access to our inventory management tool. And I love this tool. When I was using Helium 10 as a seller before I was working for Helium 10, I had no access to this kind of tool, and I was just guessing or using Excel spreadsheets. So if that's what you guys have to do, if you cancel Helium 10 in the future, and that doesn't mean you don't, you have to stop trying to calculate your inventory. You've got to still do it in another way, whether it be Excel spreadsheets or using some kind of software. It's very, very important. So what should you do after you get set up on Amazon with your product and you've started sales? You're going to want to come in here to inventory management, and you're going to start adding your SKUs right here. So you would add the different SKUs that you have in your store to restock suggestions. And what that does is, from that day forward, we're going to start analyzing your sales. We're going to tell you how much you might need to order, and when you need to order, and when you need to transfer it to Amazon. Let me show you how you can set it up. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select the actual SKU here. This is our pink coffin shelf. And what I actually need to do is I can put in my supplier. My supplier's name happens to be Apple. And so she has different factories. I just put my own little descriptor here, Apple, and this is, I know, the wood factory. Right here, I'm going to put in my supplier SKU. If she requires a SKU, or if your supplier requires a SKU, this is so that you can create purchase orders. Here's where I put in my cost of goods sold and my shipping cost to get it to Amazon. Now, here is the important part. This is for forecasting purposes, which is the bread and butter right here of inventory management, is your lead time. What does lead time mean? And this is something, again, regardless if you're using Helium 10 or not, this is super important. It's basically the time placed between an order with your supplier and the product being received in Amazon. Okay, so if I give my PO to my supplier on January 1st, all right, how many days does it take for them to produce it, get it on a boat, the boat to get to America, and then for it to clear customs and go from California to all the different Amazon warehouses? What is that time period usually? And this varies a lot, so you've got to kind of like give it some leeway. I just threw in for this product 75 days, because when I was importing this product, they would usually make it in just about 2 weeks, and then it would take like another maybe 3 to 4 weeks to get to the US, another few weeks to get to Amazon, depending on how the traffic is going. And I threw in some buffer time there. So I put 75 days. Reorder frequency is how often you want to order. Do you want to order just, however much it's going to last you for 1 week? Of course not, right? You don't want to have to order something 52 times a year every single week. You probably want to make an order, every 2 months, every 3 months. That's up to you and your budget. But I put here like, hey, I kind of want to order every 50 days if possible. This is just a sample one. Actually, most of mine, I probably have it about 60 to 90 days, right? This here is your case pack. Here's the minimum order quantity. This is the forecasting type. I'm not going to go too much into detail here. Make sure to watch the training videos within inventory planning to understand these forecasting types. But if you're not using Helium 10, you're going to have to decide, what are you basing your sales velocity on? Is it like, hey, how much I've sold in the last 1 week, in the last 2 weeks, in the last month? Are you going to apply some fancy algorithm? We're actually applying some fancy algorithms in ours. And again, in the learn button here in inventory planning, you'll be able to see what these different algorithms that we use in order to forecast your inventory. Now, based on all of that information, what Helium 10 is going to do is we're going to start looking at your inventory and tell you that, hey, you're going to need to do this on a certain date. Like, for example, here is our egg tray, and it says we're in stock, like we're pretty good. All right. And it's saying that we're probably not going to need to order anymore until January of 2022. Now, why is it saying that? I can click this number here, and it's actually going to show me the sales velocity that we've been having. All right, you can see the sales velocity, and it's forecasting out the inventory or the sales velocity of what the algorithm thinks that we're going to be selling. And based on that, and based on how much inventory we have in Amazon and in our warehouse, it's saying, hey, you're good until about January. You're going to need to put in another order. Okay. You'll notice here a button called Transfer Now. Now, here's the thing. Me personally, I've got a warehouse in the back of my house. That's where actually I store all of these products in. All right. So I've got, like, for example, 412 in my warehouse of, what is this? The egg tray. All right. And then if I get low in my Amazon inventory, it's going to tell me I need to transfer. And actually, this product is saying I need to transfer it soon. It's telling me I need to transfer it actually in a couple of days. I'm going to need to transfer some from my warehouse to Amazon. Here's something about inventory on Amazon, guys. There are limitations. I think Kevin has probably talked about it in another module. Different times of the year, whatever, like if there was like another COVID situation or something, Amazon will restrict how much inventory you send in. Sometimes it's per ASIN that they restrict it. Sometimes it's per size tier. All right, let me show you guys here in Seller Central in our inventory performance under restock limits. Okay, there are certain size limitations. It's saying that, hey, 1,200 units, I'm using 887 of those spaces there. Oversized storage, I don't have any oversized products, so I'm using 0 out of 1,000 there. Apparel storage, I'm using 188 out of 1,000. All right, so if I get close to this, which I actually am getting pretty close here, it's actually going to cut me off. It's going to say, no, you cannot send any more of this. All right, so what happens is you need to store this inventory. If you have to send it over from China and you can't send it directly from China, everything to Amazon, you're going to have to use your own warehouse if you've got one, or what's called a third-party logistics warehouse in order to store your inventory. So these are things you need to keep in mind. And that's why we have this local inventory, because so many of you sellers out there are storing your product also in your own warehouse or in third-party warehouses. So keep a close eye, guys, on your restock suggestions. Now, sales can go up and down. Depending on which algorithm you have selected, we should be able to kind of, quickly pivot and tell you, hey, your sales are way up. You're going to need to order sooner than this January date or something like that. So that's why you got to keep an eye on it, unless your sales every single day are like 3 and 4 units or 10 units every single day. Most likely that's not going to happen. Sales go up and down on Amazon, so you should make sure that you know when you have to reorder. If you guys have the Helium 10 mobile app, all right, and you have this alert turned on, we actually send you alerts to your phone on when your status changes. If you have all of this set up, and it's going to say, hey, your reorder status went to order now, all right, or your order status went to ordering soon, we will actually go in there and send you a message, and you'll get it on your phone to let you know, hey, you probably need to look at your inventory planning to create the order. You can actually create your shipping orders right here within Helium 10. All right, this is your FBA shipments. Kevin showed you in a different module how to set that up inside of Amazon, but you can actually create that right here inside of Helium 10 as well. So guys, inventory forecasting is super, super important. Two things you want to avoid: running out of stock, losing all your momentum, or number two, having so much inventory that you are completely maxed out on inventory and Amazon is charging you storage fees. You want to try to avoid these as much as possible, and having a great system for your inventory management definitely plays a role in that. So guys, make sure, again, I think like 98% of you are Helium 10 members. You all have access to this tool at no added charge. So go into your inventory management as soon as you get started selling on Amazon, set things up in there so that you can make sure that you are on top of your inventory forecasting. We'll see you guys in the next module.